Helmig, Keyser, Woodworth, now Ferguson. It's an exclusive club, but these wrongfully convicted Missouri men are not alone.
Across the country, 77 people have had charges dropped this year, and the number grows each week. In a special report tonight, ABC 17's Evan Millward uncovers what's becoming a legal trend and asks if something is wrong with the justice system.
29 Missouri men and women have walked free from prison since 1991. Most were never supposed to see outside the prison walls again. Courts in this state are releasing prisoners at higher rates now than at any other time in recent history. Last week, Ryan Ferguson became the 6th man released early from a state prison this year. From wrongly convicted to cause celeb.
I feel like Jay Leno or something.
Ryan Ferguson is now a member of a small but growing group in Missouri. You are looking at faces of people who, until this year, still face decades behind bars. George Allen Jr., Reginald Griffin, Paula Hall, Robert Nelson, Mark Woodworth, Ryan Ferguson.
You know, this is not an anomaly. I think we need to look at other cases and be aware that this is part of our justice system, and, you know, there are more innocent people in prison.
I think that people think that these cases are just anomalies, that they just happen once in a blue moon.
Laura O'Sullivan teaches at UMKC's law school in Kansas City. She shepherds students through wrongful conviction cases and theory.
One of the very first things I tell them is, when you look at these cases initially, you're going to think that they look guilty. Because oftentimes 12 jurors listened to the case and thought they looked guilty. What we're finding out is it's a much bigger problem than we ever imagined.
And if it's a problem, it's becoming a more common one. Take a look at this chart. In 1989, 20 people nationwide walked free. So far this year, the number's ballooned to 77. But why? O'Sullivan says researchers look at a few reasons, including official misconduct, false confessions, faulty informant and eyewitness testimony, and bad science.
I think because of the better technology, we're able to also get to information and evidence that will help us reveal the injustices that have occurred. We're tracking them now, so I think that certainly helps us figure out how big this problem is.
And this is one of the tools tracking wrongful convictions. The National Registry of Exonerations is run by Michigan and Northwestern law schools. On these pages, you'll find summaries of the cases that never should have been. On Missouri's page, you'll now find Ryan Ferguson. You'll also find Joshua Keyser.
It is necessary. We're talking about innocent lives. This isn't a numbers game. These aren't animals. This isn't throwaway material. This is human life.
Keyser was exonerated in 2009 after spending 15 years in prison for a Southeast Missouri murder he says he didn't commit. Now the Scott County Sheriff agrees with him. Keyser talked to us the day Ferguson's conviction was vacated.
It's a shock the day that it comes, because you know it's going to come, but you don't know when, you don't know how, you don't know through what circumstance or what motion or something of that nature.
Since gaining freedom, Keyser has been outspoken about helping others do the same. One of the first people he named, Ryan Ferguson. And last week we heard Ferguson name another.
Charles Erickson. I mean, the guy's a lot of things, but the thing he is, more so than anything else, is innocent.
We know that Charles Erickson is innocent. We know that.
Laura O'Sullivan is also the senior counsel for the Midwest Innocence Project, but let's add a third title for her: attorney for Charles Erickson.
We're only halfway there. 50% justice is not justice enough.
She knows it's a long road ahead.
Erickson has a particularly difficult task here because there is no magic DNA that's going to exonerate him.
O'Sullivan's last client, Robert Nelson, was released this year after nearly 30 years in prison. George Allen got out this year after 2 decades. Joshua Keyser served 15 years. Ryan Ferguson had been in for 8.
When these cases come up and we start looking at them and realizing something went wrong here, we all need to just admit it, accept it, and do what needs to be done to get them out of there in a timely manner. The requirement that people go through lengthy appellate processes while people are fighting, that's frustrating.